there! It's me! Well, you know, it's me. I'm me. And I'm collecting video games every day of my life until I'm dead. And so far, that's proven to be way far off in the future. So I'm just going to keep going until that day finally happens. With that being said, wow, would you look at that, it's November, and I've said something stupid at the beginning of this video, like I always do. With that also being said, wow, look, it means I get to talk about everything that I picked up in October. What do you know? October was great because, well, without spoiling anything, I picked up some really, really awesome stuff. Not a lot of stuff, but the stuff that I did get was super mind-blowingly awesome. Two things in particular, and one thing that I already knew I was getting, because it's actually a new game, but was looking forward to it for basically a year. But let's get right into it. I'll actually start with that one first. Yeah, right over here. And that game is Megaman 11. I love the whole Megaman series, although I haven't played every single game. Like, for example, I haven't played Mega Man Rockboard, and I haven't played the Wily Wars, and I haven't played Powered Up, or anything like that. I love the original Mega Man series. I've played all of them 1 through 10, and Mega Man and Base. So when Mega Man 11 was announced to come out, I may have pooped a little. And then when Mega Man 11 did come out, I may have pooped a lot. So much, in fact, that the sheer force of excrement exiting my body rocketed me directly to Target, where I bought this. And then played it, and then beat it, and then played it again, and then beat it again on the harder difficulty. And now I'm just obsessed with it. So, yeah. Hell yeah. Before Mega Man 11 came out, I spent that preceding weekend playing through the entirety of the classic series, 1 through 10, with my buddy Nathaniel up at his place in Connecticut, in preparation for this game's release. So when it came out, wow! I was ready. And I got a good chance to play the game and analyze it for exactly what it is in comparison to the other Mega Man games, because I had them fresh in my mind, having only played them a couple days earlier. And of course I'm always playing and replaying the Mega Man games in the franchise, because that's the kind of game player I am. I love playing Mega Man. And I think it's a paragon of game design, and if you want to get into game design, you should play every single classic Mega Man game. I'm not kidding. But yeah, super happy I picked this up. But let's get into the retro stuff, shall we? So the following 5 games I actually got because my friend Ben messaged me saying he was going through his stuff in his apartment and he unearthed some old NES games. Now, he unearthed 7 plus a Game Genie, and I took all 7 of them plus the Game Genie. We made an agreement that I would pay him in increments because one of them was actually incredibly rare and expensive, and I will get to that one soon. But I ended up getting rid of one of them and the Game Genie at a convention that I just recently went to because, well, I already had a Game Genie and that 7th game. That game was Monopoly for NES. So I kept 6 of them. I'm going to talk about these next 5 right here. So, let's go. First up is Super Spike V-Ball. This game, despite not really looking like it, it was actually made and published by Nintendo. It's actually a pretty damn good volleyball game. In fact, it was released on a compilation cart with, I think, World Championship Soccer or Nintendo World Soccer, whatever it's called. I don't remember. I'll pop that right down here. But I actually have that compilation cart, so it's kind of shitty that I don't remember what the other game was called. But anyway, it's a soccer game. This, on the other hand, is a volleyball game where you play volleyball, and it's really fun. I really enjoy this. I like it more than regular volleyball on NES. I don't know what that really says because, well, they're both primitive volleyball games, so does it really matter? But anyway, yeah, I'm really happy about that. Thanks so much, Ben. My buddy Ben is a big fan of professional wrestling, and I guess that's been with him his whole life. These games that he gave me were from his childhood. So, with that being said, it makes me, you know... Well, I want to say I wasn't surprised, I guess, that this next game was WWF Wrestlemania. Coming from Ben, this game means more than it would off of the shelf because I knew that he enjoyed the shit out of this game growing up because Ben loves professional wrestling. And in fact, being friends with Ben has actually given me opportunities to learn a lot about professional wrestling, even though I don't watch it very often. When I do, I enjoy myself, but it's not something that I sit down and watch on my own. Not to say that I dislike it, but WWF Wrestlemania is a game that a lot of wrestling fans really enjoy and they speak pretty highly of. I know that among some wrestling fans it can be considered primitive and kind of derpy and shitty, and it holds no candle to the N64 wrestling games that came out in later years, but I guess this is where it all began for a lot of people because Ben loved this game, and apparently he swore by it, and decided to give it to me because we're cool buds, I guess. So thanks so much, Ben. I will play this for you. Thanks. This next one took me by surprise, not because it's rare, but it's actually fairly uncommon. But again, knowing Ben and his sense of humor, it doesn't surprise me at all that he would own this game growing up, and that's the Ren and Stimpy show, Buckaroos. I've actually never played this game, and I've never seen any footage of it, but I know that it's uncommon. So getting it in my collection is awesome because it means that I don't have to look for it anymore. And in fact, it's so uncommon that I've never seen it with my own two eyes, except here in Ben's possession and then given to me. That's how uncommon it is. So yeah, baboom. Thank you very much, Ben. I really appreciate that. I'm going to enjoy the hell out of it, even though I have no idea what kind of game it is. Ben liked MTV, I guess, because he also gave me remote control, which, from what I know, since I didn't grow up watching MTV, is a game show that they ported to the NES so that you could play it at home. That's all I can really say about it. I'm sure it's a good game, or at least not a bad game. Ben seemed to have enjoyed it. He said that he played all of these growing up and really enjoyed them, so, I'm not going to fault him for that. Just because a game is bad in the eye of the public, that doesn't mean you're not allowed to enjoy it. Personally, I enjoy Fester's Quest, but a lot of people think that that game sucks. It's one of my favorite games on the NES, actually. Maybe I'm stupid. But thank you, Ben, for your copy of Remote Control. I will play this again for you. And lastly, but not least, Round Ball 2-on-2 Challenge, also for NES, like all of the games that Ben gave me were for. It's a basketball game with a very disappointing front cover. What is this? This doesn't make me want to play this game. It's boring. Round Ball 2-on-2 Challenge is a trademark of Mindscape Incorporated, 60 Leveroni Court, Novato, California 94949. Copyright 1992, Data East USA Incorporated. Copyright 1992, Mindscape Incorporated. All rights reserved. And some other jargon. For 1 to 4 players, this game is licensed for play on the Nintendo Entertainment System. To put all their they put like a giant blurb about copyright info on the front label for this game. What did the box look like? But anyway, yeah, it's a Round Ball 2-on-2 Challenge. Very boring cover, but it's a basketball game, so probably very boring gameplay. Sorry, Ben. Alright, so before we get to the last game that Ben got me, and the another rare game that I got, let's go back to the future with Super Mario Party. I picked this up at the beginning of October, because, hello, it's Super Mario Party. This brought Mario Party back from the dead with 9 and 10. And it was so good that I wrote a review for it on Game Cola. By the way, I'm now a staff writer for Game Cola, and I will link that article in the description for you guys. But yeah, I really like this game. I think it does a great job of bringing Mario Party to the modern day. And with that being said, please go out and pick this up and play it if you have a Switch. And if you don't find somebody who does, this game deserves to be played. It's a fantastic party game, and it does everything that it needed to do, again, to bring Mario Party to the masses in today's day and age. Wow, what a good game. Wow, what a good game. Alright, here we go. 2 rare things, and that'll actually close out the pickups for this month, because I didn't get a whole lot. I was very busy, unfortunately. When I went to visit Nathaniel and Shannon, we did our Mega Man marathon, as I said, but right before I was actually getting ready to leave and go home, we were discussing some video games that we played and discussing our adventures playing them. It's something that we do every time I go up there. We'll look at each other's backloggeries, i.e. our catalogs of games that we own and have played, and we pick a game that is either labeled beaten or completed, and we will ask that person on whose list we're looking at about their adventure with that game. And I believe that I asked Nathaniel about Sparkstar on Super Nintendo, and he said he actually really didn't enjoy it. See, this is another common theme that we're coming up here with. If you remember way back, I think it was in April, I had discussed Secret of Mana with Nathaniel, and he said he didn't like it, and then he offered to give it to me. And then he ended up giving it to me for free for my birthday. This is a similar case. We talked about Sparkstar. He said he played through it, he didn't enjoy it. So he asked me if I wanted it. I said I couldn't do that. Sparkstar, for Super Nintendo specifically, is a rare game. And with that being said, it's expensive. And he said, well, I'll tell you what, I'll charge you half of what it's normally worth. I said, I still don't want to do that. It's rare. I can't just take it from you. You know, I also don't have the money on me right now, even if I wanted to. Being polite. And Nathaniel said, all right, well then just take it and bring it home and, you'll pay me off later. It's Sparkstar for Super Nintendo. Nathaniel, thank you so much for contributing to my collection. Honestly, I don't think anyone else has contributed this much to my collection ever. Sure, you've only given me, a small handful of games, but you might be the person who has actually given me the most. I don't think another single person has contributed this much, maybe except my parents growing up. And I don't know if that counts or not. Yes, it does, but other than my parents, you are definitely the person who's contributed the most to my collection. And I'm really thankful for that, especially because you've given me two very expensive games already. This one and Secret of Mana. For those of you who don't know, Sparkstar is the sequel to Rocket Knight Adventures on the Sega Genesis, and it was actually also released for Sega Genesis as Sparkstar. Although this game and Sparkstar on Genesis are not the same game, even though they have the same title. I believe that the one on Genesis is subtitled Rocket Knight Adventures 2. This one is just called Sparkstar. Either way, it is a platform game. It's an action platform game where you run around and you have a jetpack and you have a sword and you beat people up and you run around with the jetpack and you slash people with the sword, and it's great. And it's rare. And now I own it because Nathaniel is such a cool dude. Thank you so much. I really appreciate that. That's going to look really nice on my shelf, but I'm also going to play the crap out of this because I love Rocket Knight Adventures, and I've never played Sparkstar. So now we have some more adventures to go on with my buddy, the Rocket Knight, whose name is Sparkstar. Thank you again, Nathaniel. So when I said that Ben gave me a rare game, I wasn't kidding. In fact, when he told me about the games, I believe this is how it went. Hey, Matt, where can I sell some expensive Nintendo games? How about selling them to me, Ben? Since I collect, that would be pretty cool. Hello. Okay, how do you feel about a little game called Mighty Final Fight? And I responded, ah! So yeah, Ben and I had to make a deal for me to pay him incrementally because of Mighty Final Fight. This game is very expensive because it's very rare. This is, again, like Ren and Stimpy, the only game, or not the only game, the only time that I have seen this game with my own two eyes in real life. That's how rare it is. It's also incredibly expensive. And Ben was nice enough to let me take it off his hands and pay him back in increments because he knows how important it is that I own this game. Wow. Ben, I can't begin to tell you how thankful I am that you would do that for me, considering this could get you a lot of money right away. It means a lot to me that you would do that for me. Mighty Final Fight is an action beat-em-up game, although I suppose all beat-em-up games are action. But it's based on the Final Fight series released by Capcom, although this is Mighty Final Fight, which is technically a spin-off. All the characters are chibi, and they're very cutesy. And that was a common theme that was going on around the time that this game was released, where characters from different TV shows, video games, movies would all be put into a more chibi or cutesy universe, and media based on that new art style will be released. And Mighty Final Fight is a product of that time. Because of that, it's actually pretty popular among collectors, not just because of its rarity, but because it's actually very fun and very cute. And I really, really can't wait to play this. Thank you so much, Ben. Oh my god. Oh my god! This is one of the top 5 rarest things that I own now. Thanks, Ben. Really appreciate that. Really appreciate that. I need some hot cocoa. Non-dairy hot cocoa. They do that. Mighty Final Fight. Mighty Final Fight. Mighty Final Fight. I'm so happy. And one final thing, I want to give a huge shout out to 3 people specifically. When you're a collector, sometimes you come into, games or, incomplete copies of games. And over time, you hope to build those up until they are complete. And sometimes those copies are built up so much that you actually save a ton of money by building the collectible into one piece by piece, instead of purchasing it whole outright. What I'm about to show you cost me a total of $8. Total. It's a complete copy of Super Smash Bros. Melee. This cost me $8 total. Here's how. The reason I'm mentioning this now is because I got the last piece in October. In around 2002 or 2003, I had a friend named AJ who decided he didn't want his copy of Super Smash Bros. Melee anymore. He asked me if I would take it off his hands for $5. I didn't have it. He didn't have the case or anything. But at that time, I wasn't a collector, so I didn't care. So I took it. And I kept it in like a CD case, with like a bunch of those felt pages with the plastic overlays. So I got the disc in 2002 or 2003 for $5. Last year, my friend Tyler visited me from Canada and knew that I still didn't have a case for Melee. So he gave me a spare one that he had. For nothing. At this point, now it's about 15 years later, I now have this. Still for $5. And then the other day I went to my buddy Rich's house, and by the other day I mean a couple weeks ago in October, and he decided he wanted to sell a bunch of GameCube stuff. He asked me to price some stuff for him, and if there was anything I wanted to take it off his hands. There was actually a lot of stuff of his that I didn't really want or didn't care for, but one thing caught my attention, and that's that he had a complete copy of Melee. I told him outright he could get close to $75-$80 for that complete copy, but if he would do me the favor, could I buy the manual from his copy for $3? He said yes. He gave me the manual, and as of this October, I think I said November before also, I now have a complete copy of Super Smash Bros. Melee, which cost me a total of $8, and this game currently goes for close to $80. Being a collector can be fun sometimes, especially since this is, I'm just going to go with 2002 as the date that I got Super Smash Bros. Melee, the disc only. And if it's 2018 now, that means it took me 16 years to complete my copy of this game. But you know what? It was worth it, because that game shot up in price and is very popular, and now I own a complete copy that I got for next to nothing, for a tenth of its price. Thanks to 3 very special people in my life. Thanks to all of you. I really appreciate it. Being a collector is so much fucking fun. And that's it for October. Again, I didn't get a whole lot of stuff, but what I did get was very important and super cool and super rare. So sometimes there's a balance. Sometimes you get a whole lot of stuff, but it's very common. And sometimes you get a little stuff, but it's very uncommon, sometimes rare. So, yeah. Happy about it. Join me next month when we talk about this month's pickups, because right now it's November. I just got back from a convention, which means I just bought a whole ton of stuff, and the month isn't even halfway over yet. There's still a long way to go before this month is over, and that means I have a lot of money to spend and a lot of games to get. And you're coming along for the ride.